Now, today I'm going to give you a picture in your mind. Just imagine. You're just having a wonderful day with your family, you're just living inside your house, and all of a sudden you hear a whoosh. And you realize that there's a very heavy, very loud, very strong wind outside. And there's a lot of water in the air, and it's raining heavily, and all of a sudden you're under 5 feet of water, soaking wet inside of your house, and there's people blaring alarms, people screaming, people dying, people drowning to death within several feet deep of water. Well, this is a lot what it's like in the Hurricane Katrina and the devastation in New Orleans. And this was also a very, very important event in history. And not that long ago, because considering it was only about 13 years ago, and they're still continuously trying to fix the wreckage, it's still a very prominent and a very important event that had happened not that long ago. Now, when I talk about this hurricane here, and pretty much the devastation of New Orleans, I want to look at 3 things. I want to first of all look at why the heck this devastation was so big and so impactful on New Orleans. I also want to look at how exactly this hurricane had actually caused them to struggle the most, like how much wreckage it did. I'm just going to look at pretty much what kind of wreckage, the impact of the hurricane on it, and a little fun fact about it. And then I also want to look at a personal experience that I've had with this devastation. So going on first here, I want to look at why this was such a devastating event. Not only though, let's look here. So when you think of a hurricane, you usually think of a lot of people dying, a lot of water, a lot of destruction. Yeah, that's great and all, but you see, the reason why this was such a devastating and such an important event, beside the fact that it was a giant hurricane in New Orleans, is also the fact that people are pretty much already trying to prepare themselves and try to get themselves ready, living life. They have houses, they have a wall, they have this giant wall trying to prevent the water from getting inside. And that wall thing, the levee system pretty much, it fails. It fails when the Hurricane Katrina happens. And not only does it fail, but everybody inside had trusted that. And this was a very, 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 very tough thing for a lot of them to realize. And so when this Hurricane Katrina hit, not only did it kill a lot of people and destroy a lot of houses, but it broke their spirit. And so they lost trust within those levees. And those levees, don't forget, have been very strong and have withheld several different cases of hurricanes, several different cases of flood. Those levees specifically have only been up for 38 years. And they've been repaired, they've been reinforced a couple times, but don't forget that these levees have been defending New Orleans for several years. And all of a sudden it breaks. It wasn't a huge surprise for a lot of people. But at this time and moment, they decided to get out, and they lived on the outside of the levees because they didn't trust the levees anymore. And there was a lot of water, and pretty much considering New Orleans is a giant bowl that's 7 feet under sea level, yeah, it's going to collect all that water, and they got to find a way to get it out. So you know what they do? They move out of New Orleans and move on the outskirts of the levees, just to get hit by another hurricane. But hey, guess what? Those levees worked this time, and so all of those people that had just gotten wrecked by New Orleans and the Hurricane Katrina, that are now living on the outside of the levees, just got wiped out once again. And that is why the devastation of these hurricanes in New Orleans is so drastic and bad. So moving on from that, I want to look at this huge impact on the people. Now, the impact of the people in New Orleans is very important to realize because there's a lot of people that lived inside of there that trusted the levees and wanted all these kind of things. But one of the biggest things that I realized in there is the fact that they lost a lot of faith in themselves and a lot of faith in whatever the heck they had believed in to begin with. And so one of the things that got destroyed in this devastation of New Orleans is their faith. And this involves a lot of things with the religion. And I'm not trying to be any contradictory towards anybody's own religion, but it's just the fact that they had believed and trusted in a certain God or in a certain belief to be able to protect them. And considering not only did one massive devastation of the Hurricane Katrina happen, but then all of a sudden the next hurricane comes in and wrecks them all again. And so that belief is just getting destroyed. And so not only is it a physical devastation, but a mental devastation, a physical devastation, but it's also a spiritual devastation. And that is what's hurting the hearts of the people of New Orleans. Now, for a personal experience, this is very important to realize. Now, with my youth group this past summer, I actually went down to New Orleans for a cleanup session. We went down there for about a week and a half, and believe it or not, when we went down there, we ended up getting hit by the tropical storm Cindy, which was kind of a crazy experience, but beside the point, we were down there trying to help out with the devastation. And that was the first time I firsthand got to see the experience and the devastation of what had happened inside of New Orleans. But I went down there not only for the factor of just getting to experience that and helping to revive and recover, but also it made me realize how weak and devastated these people are internally. They don't trust people anymore. They're not trustworthy people, and not only that, but don't forget that this is a very diverse area of the world, and they have all sorts of different kind of people, has the highest crime rates, have the weirdest kind of people you ever think about. They got this voodoo juju stuff going on inside, and overall, it's a very dangerous place to be living in. And matter of fact, people don't have a lot of hope or trust anymore with inside of there. One day we went down inside of the neighborhoods to look at them around and kind of see things like that. And one of the craziest things I noticed down in New Orleans is the fact that there are these super big, beautiful mansion-like houses, amazing, that are selling for $20,000. On the outside, they're absolutely gorgeous, they're absolutely amazing. But on the inside, they're rotted away, they're broken, they're wet, they're infested, they're destroyed, and they're devastated. And this is a lot like what it was like for the people as well. And I saw that. And it's still very prominent, and it's still just as bad as it was before. So in conclusion today, I've looked at the impacts and the devastation of what exactly is going on with the system of the Hurricane Katrina and what the huge deal of it caused it, and how it also affects with the next hurricane coming up. I've also looked at the physical impact, the emotional impact, the spiritual impact that this hurricane had caused and produced on the people of New Orleans. And I've also looked at my personal experience of when I went down there to just see the actual devastation of what is going on 13 years later after the devastation had happened. So this was a very devastating impact. This was a very devastating moment for everybody. Not only the people of New Orleans, but also the people of the U.S. Thank you.